Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In this video series, you can watch the live development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. AnyRPG can be downloaded in both Unity package and source code format from anyrpg.org/downloads, where you can also find A Lost Soul, the free playable game that I work on in these episodes. In this episode, we will be adding a new feature to the game. I have been doing a lot of testing since I added the Invector controller, and one of the things that I found is that because there's like triple the number of zones in this new release that I'm going to be doing, we have an issue where I need a smooth way to unlock the ability to travel between zones. And right now, you can see that there's a whole pile of teleport crystals here. So we got a teleport crystal to Birch Grove, the Sun Temple, Light Fury Outpost, the Mana Seal, the Arena of Trials, Crystal Mine, and at the very, very back here, we've got the Temple of Ancient Energy. However, what I want is I want these things to only be unlocked after you've actually traveled to those zones. So Birch Grove gets unlocked as a result of a quest, and that makes sense because there's no way to get to Birch Grove from here. And the Arena Trials, similarly, it's not connected to anything else physically. But all these other zones you can get to from Birch Grove, so you should need to travel to them. And to do that, we're going to add a new feature called Visit Zone Prerequisites. So right now we have a bunch of different prerequisites, like have you killed something, or are you a certain faction or character class, or have you completed like a dialogue. And we're going to add have you visited a zone as a prerequisite for making those crystals spawn, so that it's just really easy to have them unlock. So what'll happen is the first time you visit a level, it'll just basically change a flag, and then you'll be able to have that crystal pop up and be there, so you don't have to take the long way back next time. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, what we need to do is we need to add the ability for a zone to track whether it has been visited or not, and then save that information. And then we need to make a new type of objective, which will be called a visit zone objective, and then a new type of prerequisite called a visit zone prerequisite. And for the visit zone objective, I'll actually be adding that as an objective to a quest, so it just makes the quest a little simpler. So you can say visit this zone, and then with the prerequisites, it'll be used for controlling spawning. So let's go ahead and do that. To do that, we will need the scene node. The scene node is where we track all of our information about scenes, and I've added a new bool here called visited, and I've added a new function here called visit. Now, what we want to do is we want to be able to subscribe to a visit event so that we can basically trigger something when this happens. So let's go ahead and create an event then. So what we will need is a public event system.action, and in this case we're just going to be emitting literally nothing, and it will be called on visit zone, and it will be just a new empty delegate. So next what we'll do is when we record the visit here, we're just going to fire on visit zone. And then anybody who's listening to this will get notification that this scene has been visited. The next thing that we need to do is we need to be able to save and load this visited status. So to do that, we'll have to go to the save manager. So let's go find the save manager. And our save manager saves some data about our scene nodes. So let's find the save scene node data function, go to the definition of that, and it looks like we need to add the ability to save whether or not that scene has been visited. So let's go to the definition of scene node save data. I've already added this visited, but I just haven't added it to the save function yet. So what we'll do is we'll go scene node save data dot visited equals scene node dot visited. And then we'll also have a function called load scene node data. So load scene node data, and we're calling a function here called load scene node, and here we're setting the persistent objects. So now what we want to do is we want to set the visited status. So scene node dot visited, and this is just a get right now. So let's go to that property and let's add a set to it as well, so that we can just set that directly if we want. So on set, we'll set visited equals value. So now we can do scene node dot visited equals scene node save data dot visited. Okay, so now we can save and load the visited status here. And next thing that we'll need to do is actually use that as a prerequisite and as an objective. So for that, we're going to go to the dialog prerequisite, which is probably about the closest thing, because dialogues we save basically whether they've been played, which is very similar. So I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate our dialog prerequisites, and I'm going to call this a visit zone prerequisite. Let's double click to open that up, and we will change the name here from dialog prerequisite to visit zone prerequisite. So here, what we'll need is a scene node. So this is a private scene node, and let's rename that from prerequisite dialog to prerequisite scene node. So on update status, we will check prerequisite scene node dot visited equals true. And here we have this method called handle dialog completed. So I'm going to rename this one to handle scene node visited. And it doesn't want to rename that for me, interestingly enough. Here, what we actually want to do is on visit zone and on visit zone as the thing we're subscribing to. And here we want the system scene node manager, and then we're going to be grabbing the prerequisite name here. The message will be could not find scene node, while initializing a visit zone prerequisite, and let's see if it lets rename that now. Handle scene node visited. Okay. Yep, it's letting me. All right, so that looks good. So now, wherever we're referencing those dialog prerequisites, we need to add this visit zone prerequisite. So let's find all references to the dialog prerequisite. And here, that is in prerequisite conditions. So we will make a new serialized field, and we will call it list of visit zone prerequisites. Make it a new list of visit zone prerequisites, and we're going to call that visit zone prerequisites. Then wherever we're checking the dialog prerequisites, we'll basically want to check instead the visit zone prerequisites. So we'll go down until we find the dialog ones. We will copy the entire block of code that checks the dialog prerequisites. And we will do the for each loop as for each visit zone prerequisite. And it looks like I have a spelling error here. So let's rename that to visit zone prerequisite. Okay, good. So we will rename this one to visit zone prerequisite in visit zone prerequisites. Everything else looks good. Here we're going to do visit zone prerequisites. Okay, so now whenever we perform the check for prerequisites, we will go ahead and scroll through all of the visit zone prerequisites, and then we just want to copy this other block of code down here. So for each I prerequisite and visit zone prerequisites, and then update status. And then also we'll want to do set up scriptable objects. So we will copy this block of code here for each prerequisite in visit zone prerequisites, set up scriptable object, on status updated. Okay. Looks good. I know this code is kind of messy. I'm going to clean this up at some point in the future because there's a lot of stuff that's totally just repeated here. But for now, just trying to get the functionality in. And I think that's all that's needed actually for the actual visit zone prerequisites. Let's just hop back into Unity and see if that's going to compile for us. Okay, so what we want to do is go to those portal crystals and add in those visit prerequisites. So let's do portal crystal mine, and we will give it a prerequisite, and it will be a visit zone prerequisite, and crystal mine is the zone name. And then we will want to do Light Fury Outpost, so we will give that a single prerequisite. It'll be a visit zone prerequisite, and it will be Light Fury Outpost. We'll find the Mana Seal crystal here and give it a prerequisite of Mana Seal, and let's see what else we have to add in here. The Sun Temple, we want to do the same thing. Give the Sun Temple Teleport Crystal a prerequisite of Sun Temple for having visited it. And then the Temple of Ancient Energy as well. We will want to add one visit zone prerequisite, Temple of Ancient Energy. Okay, that's good. That should mean that all those crystals can only spawn once those zones have been marked true for visiting. So we just want to make sure that check options to spawn is true on these crystals, because that means that the interactable itself won't even bother spawning that crystal unless this interactable options prerequisites are met. So that's perfect, and now let's go ahead and load the game and just test and see if we only have 2 crystals there instead of the 6 that we saw originally. And we want the one here that's over in the Soul Forge. Okay, good. So I have Birch Grove, and I have the Arena of Trials, and nothing else has spawned yet. Perfect. So what I want to do then is we have to head over to the Sun Temple. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just jump down here and then teleport to the sun, or Birch Grove, and then we'll go travel to the Sun Temple. And then I want to come back here and see if the Sun Temple has unlocked. So we'll get on our dragon mount just to make things quicker. And our gate's over here, so we'll go run through our new portal. And now we'll travel to the Sun Temple, and we've got a kind of a bit of a, wow, really neat bug there, where it didn't properly dismount us before we went in there. Okay, so that's all right, because actually the only thing we were really testing here was whether or not this thing actually recorded the zone as visited. This is kind of cool though. This is like if you've ever played like World of Warcraft in the old days and you went underneath Stormwind and you could see everything underneath the levels. All right, so cool. And there we are. Now we're like back outside. Awesome. Let's save the game here. And then what we want to do is we want to basically teleport back to the Soul Forge. Right, and now that we're back at the Soul Forge, we can go check if we have a Sun Temple teleport crystal spawned up top there. Okay, so I am not seeing a Sun Temple teleport crystal here. So it looks like we have a little bit of debugging to do. So let's just start with, oh, you know what? You know why? It's because we actually never called that visit scene node. That's why. Okay, great. So let's actually go put that in. So somewhere in our game here, we have like a level manager. And the level manager loads scenes. So let's see if we can find the code that does that. On load level, automatically called by the scene manager. Okay, perfect. This is exactly the one that we want. So what we've done here is we've hooked into a Unity class called the Scene Manager, and we're actually subscribing to its onload level event. So that's great. So what we need to do here is perform level load activities. We'll go to the definition of that, and we're calling getActiveScene from the Scene Manager. If it's not any of these other levels, we're going to tell all our subscribers that a level has been loaded. So what we want to do is we want to basically keep track of what our active scene is. Because we actually have a function here, I think somewhere called like getActiveSceneNode. See if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so we have this getActiveScene node here, and this getActiveScene node is going to call the system scene node manager.myInstance.getResource scene manager.getActiveScene.name. And this is actually a real-time call right now. And let's see this get spawn location. Where is that called from? I think we actually don't really need that. What we want to do is when we load the level, we want to basically track what the active scene node is, and then we want to call its visit method, and then when other people call this, we just want to record or return that value that we had saved. So let's go ahead and make a variable to track that. So we will make a private scene node, active scene node. It'll be null by default. And when we call on load level here, the very first thing we do is call perform level load activities. So what we want to do is we want to call set active scene node. And I haven't actually written that yet, so let's write it. And this will be a public void set active scene node. And to do that, we'll just grab the code from getActiveSceneNode. And so what we'll do is we'll do active scene node equals system scene node manager myInstance.getResource scene manager.getActiveScene.name. Perfect. So then set active scene node is the very first thing done in perform level load activities, and then from now on all we have to do is when we're calling getActiveSceneNode just return the active scene node. So let's go back to getActiveSceneNode. Go to the definition of that, and from now on we will just return active scene node. Okay, good. So now what we want to do is when we perform those level load activities, go to the definition of that. First we're going to set active scene node, and then we want to call scene node.visit. So if our active scene node does not equal null, then call active scene node.visit. Okay, so now we can actually mark those scenes as visited. Good. So let's go ahead and jump back into the game and test it out and see now that we're marking those scenes as visited if the character, if those crystals actually spawn when we visit a zone. Also, you know, there was one other little bug in there. When we teleport, we actually dismount. And we need to do that. Let's see, teleport effect. So let's just go to try to find our mount effect here. And I just want to find all references to cancel effect and see if there's a place where we're actually calling cancel mount effect, or if we just do that like automatically when we start casting a spell. deactivate mounted state right here. Perfect. Okay. No, that's not what we want. So let's find all references to mount effect. There. Right here. When we begin a casting ability, we actually run through and cancel our mount. So I think what we need to do is we need to encapsulate this logic inside of base character.myCharacterUnit, and then that way we will actually dismount before we perform this teleport ability as well. So we'll just fix that bug real quick. So let's go to base character.myCharacterUnit. We'll go to the definition here. We are just gonna create a new function really quickly here called public virtual void cancel mount status. You know what? Cancel mount effects. Sure. Okay, good. So here we're already in the base character.myCharacterUnit. No, we're not. We actually want this in character unit. Okay, there we go, that's better. So here's where we have my mounted. We can add this. We're already in the correct class, so we just basically go if my mounted equals true, then we do all this stuff. Okay, perfect. So now we can just safely call this method from anywhere that we have access to the character unit. So let's just remove this function from that one because we didn't need it in there. And finally what we can do is when we're actually casting our spell, we can just call cancel mount effect. Now let's see if we can find where we were casting that. Perfect. So what we want is just to call base character.myCharacterUnit.cancel mount effects. And we can get rid of all that. And now when we teleport, that is done through the load scene interactable option. Right here, we're calling load level, and what we want to do is basically player manager.myInstance.myCharacter.myCharacterUnit.cancel mount effects. Okay, good. So now we should be able to properly zone between levels without having our mount show up on top of our head. So let's just save all that. Okay, and we will load up the game. We'll find the guy who's Oh, you know what? Wow, I even saved him at the Sun Temple already. Okay. Yeah, that's good. We'll just load him because let's see, loading him should be fine because the level will be marked visited immediately anyway. So that's good. Level should be marked as visited now. We can save the game and then head back to the Soul Forge. Okay, there we go. Cool. Now we got 2 crystals up there. Awesome. So we have the Sun Temple and we've got the Birch Grove crystal, and then now we have the Arena of Trials crystal. Very cool. Okay, that's working. Now let's go ahead and do visiting a zone as a quest objective. So I have a character in the Sun Temple, and that character is about to start another quest, and let's actually just go take a look at that here for a second. So we'll go load this girl up. I keep on calling him a guy, but it's a girl actually in her there. Okay, here we go. So we're over by High Channeler Fission, and he's about to give us a quest here, and the quest is going to be to go find the Knights of the Light Guard, and it's got one objective right now: investigate Light Fury Outpost. And technically, that's actually a dialogue objective. So what happens is, when we go to Light Fury Outpost, we have to complete this dialogue with the commander, and then this is done. But what I actually want is I want to actually have an objective. So at first is like travel to Light Fury Outpost, and then the second objective is investigate Light Fury Outpost. So this is where we're going to have the visit zone objective. So unlike the prerequisite, which is used for controlling whether or not things can spawn or things become available, this is going to be like an active objective for completing a quest. So to do that, we've actually got the dialogue objective, right here. And what we want to do is we just want to Control D to duplicate that. And we're going to call this the visit zone objective. Okay, so we'll open up the visit zone objective and change the name right here to visit zone objective. It's a quest objective. And let's see here for check completion count. We want to accept a scene node. Rename this to scene node. Everything else I think is okay. So what we want to do basically is we want to subscribe directly to the zone or the scene node's visit method. I don't want to subscribe to the system event manager. So we can actually simplify this code, because what's happening here is the dialog completion is being emitted to the system event manager. So this thing actually has to accept like a parameter basically. that allows it to check whether or not that's the right scene node. But since we can subscribe directly to the dialog, we don't even really need this parameter. So let's fix that up. What we'll do is very much like the prerequisite, we will need to get a reference to the thing before we can subscribe to it. So let's copy that code right here. And let's see. On accept quest, I think I want to keep track of this. So when we accept the quest, we'll make a new variable here called a private scene node objective scene node. And we'll call this objective scene node. You know what? We don't even need to do that because, yeah, it's fine. I'll do it. Okay. So objective scene node equals null, just in case we end up like reusing this or something at any point. And here, it's actually my type, which is available because it's a string that comes from quest objective. So basically, if my type does not equal null and my type isn't string.empty, then our objective scene node is from the system scene node manager grabbing my type. And here we're going to say we're calling the visit zone objective dot on accept quest. And we couldn't find my type while initializing a visit zone objective. Okay. And now we can take the objective scene node dot on visit zone, and then let's see, we'll just have it basically call check completion count. And then at the end of this, objective scene node dot on visit zone minus equals check completion count. And then we can just basically remove that. Here it automatically matches, so we basically don't need that block right there. And let's do Control KF to fix the formatting there. This should really, I mean, it's kind of silly. I guess there's nothing really wrong with this code. We can visit a scene more than once, potentially, before we hand it in. And technically, you're allowed to actually ask for any amount of visits. Doesn't really make sense, like logically, for visiting a zone, but it is a valid action. So basically, we can just leave all that. Okay, good. So next, actually, I think that's it. I think that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and try that out and see if it works. The quest we were going to accept was Investigate Light Fury Outpost, so we'll go into that quest now. Oh, you know what else we need to do, actually? We have this Visit Zone objective, and we need to go to where we had the dialogue objective. Find all references to that, because in the quest we will need to add a list of Visit Zone objectives. And let's just see where else this is used. So we'll want to right click on that and encapsulate it. Here, where we check the dialogue objectives, we will want to check the Visit Zone objectives. And when we abandon the quest, we will want to call that. So for each Visit Zone objective in Visit Zone objectives. And then let's see here. In the dialogue objectives, we will copy that code here, and we will make sure our quest can actually display the Visit Zone objectives. And on accept quest, we will need to call the on accept quest, so Visit Zone objective in Visit Zone objectives. And let's see, on check completion, we will want to copy this code here and basically do the same thing for Visit Zone objective in Visit Zone objectives. Keep scrolling down, look for any more. Looks like right here we have some more dialogue objective handling code, so we'll just copy that and do Visit Zone objectives and give it the setup scriptable objects code. Okay, I think that's all of the code that we need. Let's jump back into the editor here and see if that compiles. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to that quest, which was Investigate Light Fury Outpost, and we will add the Visit Zone objective. So we have one just a second. Investigate Light Fury Outpost as a prerequisite condition. You know what? Right. That's specifically because this one actually was just one that you could just go hand in. There wasn't actually anything to do once you got there. So yeah, that's great. We can add the visit zone objective, and we're going to need amount 1, and the type is Light Fury Outpost. We're going to override the display name to travel to Light Fury Outpost. We'll save that, and let's launch the game now and see if this shows up as the objective of the quest. Okay, we can talk to High Channel or Fission here. And now the objective is travel to Light Fury Outpost. Perfect. So we will accept that. And now we have travel to Light Fury Outpost. So let's go ahead and travel to Light Fury Outpost. So to do that, we will want to go find the portal to Light Fury Outpost, which is over on the north side of the city. And to get there, we have to go way down here. And it's over down on that bridge. You know what? I have to go even farther down here. I made a turn too quickly there. Uh-oh, and you know what? I just like totally fell off here. I'm just gonna fix my character real quick. I like fell off the edge there. And I haven't added a way to get back up yet. So let's actually just go hit F to grab our dragon here. And we're just gonna like middle click on the ground there and hit Control Alt F to move our dragon over there. I don't know why he's floating. There we go. Now he's on the ground. Okay, good. So there's the portal. And we can travel to Light Fury Outpost. Let's see if it actually completes the quest objective. Awesome. So there it is. Travel to Light Fury Outpost, 1 out of 1. Perfect. So now we can do both travel to zone prerequisites and travel to zone objectives. So let's test it and just make sure that now when we go back to the Soul Forge, we have the Light Fury Outpost teleport crystal. Okay, good. I see 3 crystals up there. Excellent. So let's go back to Light Fury Outpost, and then we're going to teleport there, and then we're going to head over to the Mana Seal, and then we'll come back here and see if the Mana Seal crystal shows up. Okay, so to get to the Mana Seal, we're going to head down the path here, head out into the desert, travel through the desert, and now we are at the Mana Seal. So we'll save the game and then head back to the Soul Forge, and we'll see if the Mana Seal crystal has showed up for us. Awesome. So I see another crystal up there. Now we have 4 crystals up there. Okay, cool. So what else do we need? Crystal Mine. Wow, neat. You know what? I actually haven't visited Crystal Mine yet since I added that prerequisite. So to do that, we're going to go over to Birch Grove and we're going to go take a trip over to Crystal Mine. So we'll hop on our dragon again. And we'll go run over to Crystal Mine here. Alright, and let's just save the game here and then head back to the Soul Forge and see if the Crystal Mine teleport crystal is going to appear for us now. And I think I see a second orange crystal up at the top there. There it is. There's the crystal mine. Awesome. So the last place that we need to go is the Temple of Ancient Energy, the new dungeon that's going to be available in this chapter. So the quickest way to get there is Light Fury Outpost. So we'll teleport ourselves over to Light Fury Outpost. Oh, you know what? I did that wrong. We actually want to go to the Mana Seal. So let's run over here. We'll go find the Mana Seal crystal. And the entrance to the Temple of Ancient Energy is down here. Let's just dismount so we can see a little better. And we got this little portal right here. We'll just save the game. Wander over into the temple. Alright, cool. So here I am in the temple. You can see there's my exit portal heading out there. Got some enemies here. And, oh, you know what? We're going to fight this guy because he can now walk downstairs. I can't hide down here anymore. Right on. We got him. Hey, and you know what? We got a new weapon too. Let's try on a new weapon. That weapon is awesome. It is the Ancient Axe. And it looks super cool. It's this giant two-handed thing here. Okay, very cool. So let's go ahead and save that, and then we'll head back to the Soul Forge. And oh yeah, you can see that way better now. I need to add some real-time lighting to that other dungeon because you can't see things very well in it, but that axe is like, it's so cool. Okay, we're gonna hop on our mount and we're just gonna make sure that the Temple of Ancient Energy showed up for us as a teleport option now that we visited it. So we'll head up here. And we're getting a nice look on this pyramid now, right? Like it's just starting to look like all the glowing crystals. I have like 40 zones in the game, and when I add them all, this whole thing's just going to be lit up with glowing crystals all over the place. So cool. There's Temple of Ancient Energy over there at the back. So now we can do visit zone objectives for quests and visit zone prerequisites so that our options to teleport all over the world just kind of appear for us as we travel to those places. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you did, then don't forget to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the AnyRPG YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.